Hello friends of terrain building and welcome to another Middle-earth terrain building tutorial. Today I want to show you how I built my Radagasts house, which I built for the 1000 miniature painting challenge of Michael from the Würfelorden. This piece of terrain will be auctioned for a charity, so you can bid for it if you want to buy it. Whoever bids the most at the end will get it, of course. If you don't want to buy terrain but still want to build your own Radagast's house, I'll show you my techniques and ideas in this video today so you can build it yourself according to your own ideas and imaginations. I wish you a lot of fun with the video. Let's start. You have seen in the first time-lapse how the floor plan will be built. I don't want to build the house completely straight because it is simply a crooked house, so I've decided on a pentagon for the ground floor. These 5 pieces will be arranged accordingly like this plan and then glued together, of course. Here are still some angle cuts missing so that they can be glued together without bigger gaps. I cut 5 blocks. I cutted 5 blocks with my normal floor heat of 6 centimeters. 3 of the 5 blocks are 12 centimeters long and the other 2 ones are 10 centimeters long. The blocks are 2.5 centimeters thick. This is needed because the outer walls should also be sloped. Therefore, the walls are needed to be thicker so that the wall can withstand this slant. The next step is to cut the needed angles. For the wall on the upper left, 45 degrees must be cut away twice. For the 2 parallel walls, 45 degrees must be cut away once each, and the other angle should be 150 degrees, because the triangular top should be regular. Therefore, 15 degrees must be cut off at both ends of the walls and the corner to achieve the 180 degrees. In the front, 60 degrees each must be cut away. Since the hot wire cutter only allows a maximum of 45 degrees, I will cut the walls on edge, which you will then be able to see in time lapse. The first floor is glued together. You see, it's a rather unusual construction for a house, but that's also the goal for a house where a Radagast lives. The inside of the house looks quite small. This is simply due to the thickness of the walls. From the outside, the house looks less small. When cutting the angles, the result is usually not 100% perfect, which is why there are sometimes small gaps, but you will not see them later. In a further step, the walls should now get an angle so that the walls do not rise vertically. They shall be a bit crooked. I will show you this step again in time lapse. first floor is now completed. You have seen all the work steps so far. I beveled all the walls like in the Lake Town video. I glued beams to the newly created corners that would stabilize the house in reality. In front, I added a 3D printed door with some steps. The windows are also 3D printed. Inside the windows, I colored still water in yellow. You might know this technique from the Shire tutorial. This time I took yellow because I would like to have an effect where it looks like the house is illuminated inside. I added a few crossbars and a few brick sections. At the walls, I glued the plaster on top of it with toilet paper and a mixture of wood glue and water, so that the walls are not so smooth and you can also dry brush in the painting process. On top, an irregular roof should come on it, which first has the basic shape and size of the ground floor. I will then cut the two roof slopes, but they should not both be the same degree, but at different angles, so that the roof also looks crooked again. Then small bay windows also are to be glued on, which have different sizes and different slopes, so that the roof also looks chaotic and not even. At the end, a highlight like a natural branch should be added, which is already cut off at an angle at the bottom. I took this dead branch from nature and I will glue it onto the roof so that in the end it looks as if the house was really built around this tree and as if the tree was thus a part of the house. For now, I take you back into a few time-lapse shots. A few steps later, the house is glued to a base and looks like this. Which steps did you miss? I glued more toilet paper, decorated and designed the bay windows. And of course, I painted the house. For that, I just primed it black, dry brushed the bricks with grey, the walls with a darker yellow, and the wooden beams with a brown. What are the upcoming steps? The roof still looks quite boring. For this, I collected hay for the roof. Hay can be found quite well, especially in the fall season. The hay is then simply glued on with wood glue so that in the end a little more variety can be seen on the roof. I'll just show you in a short time lapse how I glue the roof. The roof is now so far covered with hay. There are a few darker spots, but I don't think they are bad, because with a roof like this, there will always be darker spots. I cut the edges at the bottom with the scissors. Next, I want to add foliage to the crown of the tree so it doesn't look so drab. If you have seen my video about the mirkwood, then you know how this will happen. If you haven't, feel free to check it out. I'll explain this technique in more detail. For this, I will use Flock. Then the base still has to be designed and Radagast's house would be finished then. I will show you the designing of the base, but I will spare you the treetop because it is already explained in detail in the Mirkwood tutorial. Radagast's house is now finished. I designed the base with a forest floor flock, which I also used for the Mirkwood. This consists of different materials. In addition, I have glued on many tufts, stones, branches, and also flowers. This creates a varied mixture. On the roof, the tree is now also created. If you do not know how, then look for it at the Mirkwood tutorial. Some of the flock fell down, but especially with the autumnal color scheme, it fits very well if some leaves have fallen to the ground. I am so far finished and very happy with the result. I hope you enjoyed the video.